Hey everybody, welcome to Unscripted, where we are all about inspiring better conversations and helping people think more critically and deeply about faith, life, and leadership. My name is Sam, and I am here with my good friend Mike. How are you doing?
I'm good, Sam. Thanks for having me back.
Awesome. Very cool. I like your water bottle.
Thank you. It's not actually my water bottle. Well, it's not a water bottle. It's a coffee bottle.
A tumbler
thermos.
or something? Thermos, that's the
coffee
word.
thermos.
There you go.
It's amazing. Keeps it hot all day. However, this is actually Janet's.
I could never have thought that.
I hope she's not watching right now because she doesn't really like when I take hers. But mine was in the dishwasher, and you got to take the top off and all apart and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a pain to put back together in the morning. So I was a little lazy this morning. I just grabbed hers. I'm hoping to get it back before she realizes it's missing.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
maybe you could delete this.
Maybe I will just wait a little while to post it or something.
Good. Yeah.
A little extra long.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very good. Thanks for being here. I'm actually really excited because there's something that I want to talk to you about. And basically the first question is this, how are you feeling right now? We're like a week past something really amazing happening in your life.
A week past something really amazing happening in my life.
Like on a Tuesday last week.
I caught a lot of fish one day last week. Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know. Is
I
it?
went fishing on a lake I never been to, and it went really, really well. And
That's
that
awesome.
Totally made my day. But I'm guessing you're talking about the bugs.
I'm talking about the bugs.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't even know who I am anymore.
Your whole life you've spent wanting this to happen.
I wanted something for my whole life. I wanted to see it my whole life.
Yeah.
And now that it's happened, now what?
I want to you describe your state of mind that afternoon and that whole evening. Just tell me what happened.
Okay. So it's game 6.
Yes.
Right. I was waiting by the phone.
Bucks
Hopefully
and
someone
6.
was gonna call me and offer me a ticket, which didn't happen. So after I gave up on that, I just started pacing. So I think the game was at 8.
Yeah.
And I would say from about 6:45 till 8, I literally paced circles around the house. I don't know. I couldn't relax. I was ready for the game to begin. I was sick of all the commercials. I actually had the wrong station on for a while.
Are you kidding me?
Where's the game?
No way. Did you miss any of it?
No, I didn't miss any, but it was last second. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't even the right channel. So yeah, I paced for a good hour before the game. And then when the game started, the way our living room is, there's a coffee table between the couch and the TV.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even sit on the couch. It was I had to be closer to the TV and sit on something hard. So I sat on the edge of the coffee table with my face close to the screen. I was ready. I kind of
wish I could have just watched you watch the game because that sounds wild.
And timeouts or any kind of commercials, I would just pace during those. I didn't want to go to game 7 because I was kind of worried if they have to go back to Phoenix. That's pretty tough to do.
For sure.
So to me, this was the game they had to win.
Most definitely.
So I was way more. Usually I'm pretty calm at games. I don't scream a lot or whatever. I just like to watch the game.
Did you scream in this one?
I don't know.
Excited?
I'm not sure. I don't even know what I was doing. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I was very, very into it, and it's just really fun for me. Something you hope to see your whole life, you finally see it, is awesome. And then when I listen to the players and stuff, I just like the players as guys.
Definitely.
The way they speak of themselves and the team and all that stuff, they legitimately seem just like down to earth, normal, good guys.
Yeah.
So they're easy to root for. It's just really good.
I've been practicing this for a little while today. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I messed it up. How do you say it?
Antetokounmpo? Yeah.
Antetokounmpo.
Different people. He's even said it different ways.
Yeah, I looked it up. Okay, I've heard it 1,000 times. I can't quite get it right. I'm just going to look it up.
Antetokounmpo.
There you go. Okay.
But so just say everyone, just Giannis. He's so famous now. Giannis is enough.
Okay, so, good. Well, we'll just, from here on out.
He's going to be one of those one-name people probably.
Which, that's a very exclusive group of people.
Yeah.
He's Oprah,
really,
Giannis.
really good. He's really, really good.
Wasn't there a play towards the end, right at the end, is a block or a steal that he gets at the very end? That was nuts. Did you just go crazy at that point?
Yeah, he's just it's special to watch because you just don't see people do stuff that he can do.
Yeah,
he does stuff no one else can do. So it's awesome. But then the other players too, he's very respectful of his teammates. Mm-hmm. Only talks about how great they are. Never talks about how great he is. And they are great. The other players are great too. They have roles, and they're all very good at their role, which makes a good team. So it's, as an ex-coach and teacher and stuff, I love seeing the teamwork and people embracing who they are on the team. It's just amazing.
That's really cool. That's actually what I want to talk about today. Is that exact thing. So there's a couple of things that I've noticed. I mean, I'm not a basketball watcher. It's not something I've typically done, but this year it got me. It hooked me, and I watched some of the playoffs and the finals, and it was just so much fun to watch. And And what I noticed and what I was really impressed by is really the players, and like Giannis especially, but then even a couple of the other ones that were just incredible in the way they spoke. They were obviously very intelligent, very thoughtful, very much respectful of each other and of the other team. One of the guys, I can't remember who it was, but he was just talking. He was like, you know what, this is what we got to do. We got to play this way and find a way to play this way when we're in Phoenix. And it's just like very like matter of factly in a way that I don't remember seeing professional athletes speak very often. Yeah. So it seemed really special to me. Yeah,
a lot of the guys are. I mean, even the coach of the other team. The coach of the other team.
He seemed like an awesome guy.
And he's very outspoken about his faith, actually.
That's really
He's
neat.
a very strong Christian person. Even the hat he was wearing after the game, I can't remember what it said. It might have said forgiven or chosen or something. It was a reference to his faith, his baseball hat that he was wearing. Just a very outspoken Christian man, a high character. Just it's easy to root for people like that, right?
Yeah.
Like you respect them as a person. And so it's fun to admire their basketball skills.
Yeah, I was curious. I thought about this before. This wasn't in the plan for me for today, but I want to ask, like, the other team was a super interesting team to watch. Like, they're really great as well. Yep. Who would you be, like, a favorite player on their team? Like, what do you think about that?
Anyone who was screwing up in the moment.
Okay, well said.
Because they have some really good players, right?
Yeah, they're incredible.
Like Chris Paul or Booker, they're really good. I don't want to see him play like that against the Bucks, though. It's like they make shot after shot. It's like, please, just do they ever miss?
That's what I was
thinking. So I have no favorite players on the other team.
Okay.
I was actually even watching the game. One of the games with someone, they were complimenting the other team at times. I'm like, you never compliment. I don't want to hear that. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to hear about how good the other team is. Forget it. I want them to play poorly today. So, yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. Well, anyways, back to the thing I really wanted to get at is it seems like, and I've talked to random people about this, and it's just funny for me. I don't talk about basketball ever, but I talked to random people about this game and these people, these players, and they only have good things to say about them. Like they stop and are just like, wow, I loved how they played. They're really great. And you know what? They just seem like awesome people. Yeah. And what is it about that? Like there's something about that. I mean, obviously they're not perfect. They're probably going to mess up in certain ways in the future, and hopefully we'll be wise enough to forgive them and move on. But they have this ability to represent the team so well. And I think that's special.
Yeah. I think they're just authentic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the players are not perfect, right? Like nobody's perfect.
No, absolutely not.
So everything they say, I don't like love every single comment or whatever, but they seem to just be their true selves.
Exactly.
And I do respect that. And I think anyone can respect that. Like you're your true self. There's no game playing. There's no falsehood. That's what comes across to me. You know, like even Giannis, he was at Chick-fil-A the next day.
I saw this.
You know, and just kind of joking around and stuff, like an everyday guy. He wasn't trying to look like the smartest guy in the world or the classy pro. And he's just being himself. And I think when you're authentic, you can be respected.
Yeah. I think that's very true.
Like Danny gave the sermon last Sunday, and one of the favorite moments I had in his sermon, and I thought it was tremendous. If you missed it, you should watch online. It was a tremendous sermon. But when he spoke, he said some controversial things, and the point he was making was great. But at the end, he said, you know, if you disagree with anything, let's chat about it. Let's get a coffee. I love that. That's who he is, right? That's who he is. He has opinions, but he doesn't own them so strongly that you can't talk to him. And that's kind of who this church is, right? So yeah. So in the same way, like the players are authentic, they represent the organization well. Danny being authentic from stage as he spoke, and he taught very well from the Bible, but then he was his true self too. And he was his authentic true self, and that's just respectable. Even if you might disagree with this or that, whatever, you respect an honest person.
I love that. So that's exactly what I'm thinking about and how this translates, because when you think about being a person who follows Jesus, being a Christian, you have, I love that.
It's not that big a deal.
You just smiled when you took a drink. It made me laugh.
All right, there we go.
When you represent Jesus with your life, like that's a big deal. And I think there's people that do that well, and there's people that don't necessarily do that well. Do you think sometimes, how do you do that well, I guess? Like, because you're talking about authenticity, and I think that's a certain component to it. And I'm just curious what you think about that.
Well, if we're still talking about the Bucks, which I think we should be.
Yep, we'll keep going.
Players represent the organization well, or their trust in the organization well, by kind of living out the values of that organization, right? So the way they play, the way they follow the coach's design shows they buy in to the organization. Like, this is our plan, this is our strategy, and the players enact that on the court. And you can see or not see if a player's doing that well, right? In the way they play on the court, and then even what they say after the games. Whether they truly are bought into the principles or if they're just kind of going along because it's their job, right? Same in Christianity. Yeah. So Jesus is our leader, is our coach, for instance, and he tells us how to live. He shows us how to live. And when you're authentically trying to follow him, your actions, your attitudes reflect his.
Yeah, you're bought in.
You're bought in. And yeah, just like players, right? Players miss shots or throw the ball away sometimes. We do the same thing in our life, right? You miss shots sometimes. You do some stupid junk.
Absolutely.
You say some stupid stuff, whatever. But overall, you're really trying to follow Jesus, and people can see, like, there was a good moment. Oh, there's where he screwed up, but he's not trying to fake it. That was a bad moment. He owned it. You know, he threw the ball away or he said the wrong thing in a meeting or whatever. He messed up. Yeah. But then you get up the next day and you try your best again to represent your faith or to represent your leader, Jesus, just like a basketball player represents his coach or his team.
Totally.
It's totally transferable.
I completely agree. It makes me think, I think I saw once a little video where there was a father giving a press conference as if like his last evening was a game, and he was just reviewing what happened in the game, like the kids went off the rails, and I did this and whatever, and like expressing it like that, and it gives me the thought, like, what it would be like if every little instance we had, like we go into a restaurant and eat at a restaurant, and then afterwards the goal was to represent Jesus well. And at the end of it, we were talking with these people. And when we do that, like, we have to give a press conference. Like, did we do it well or not? Like, the waitress came or the waiter came, and we didn't tip them as well as we should have. And we didn't represent Jesus well in that moment. We just missed it. But for some reason, we made a mistake and didn't carry the...
Yeah, that's great. That's a passion of mine. Like, it would be so daunting if you knew, like an athlete, right? They play this game and millions of people watch, and then criticize or critique them all over the place afterwards. He did this right, he did this wrong, blah, blah, blah. Every move you make, millions of people watch and analyze. So imagine that in your job, anyone's job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If someone had a camera on you all day at your job and then could all comment about whatever they thought about how you did your job, even if they didn't know anything about what you do, right? They're still going to comment.
Totally.
It's so hard. And that's much like our Christian life, and people think of that at other people, right? Like, oh, I'm at the restaurant with my family. Oh no, if there was a camera on me the whole time and everyone saw, am I always respectful? Am I always representing Jesus well? And I think we all know there'd be moments like we just could edit the film and not have anyone see. But here's the beauty in that. It sounds negative, but it isn't. God does see it all.
Yeah.
God does see everything you do. And if you have the wrong attitude about that, you're like, oh no, God saw this and now he's mad at me. Or, oh no, God saw that and he thinks this about me. When instead it's like, wait a minute, God saw that, and I know I messed up, and he knows I messed up, and he still loves me.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It only draws you closer to God and allows you to worry less and less and less about what other people think. Because God saw what you did at the restaurant and still loves you. So if Joe Blow over there sees it and thinks you're an idiot, who cares?
Yeah.
He's not with God then, because God still loves you, and so should he if he's truly a Christian person. Right? Like, yeah, Mike screwed up at the restaurant. He treated his kid poorly or the waitress poorly. It was a bad moment. Okay, it was a bad moment. I admit it. And then we forgive and we move on.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you do with God. And that's why the relationship we have with God is so beautiful and so encouraging and so life-giving. And when you embrace that, you can let go more and more and more of what others might think.
Yes. And I think it's interesting because at the same time, it's both freeing that you can know that God's there and loves you and forgives you. And it's also inspiring. Because, like, oh, he's with me and he's actually helping me. And when I do things the right way, I actually, like, experience the goodness of what that's supposed to be like. If I tip well, if I treat a person kindly, if I treat my kids well and I walk out, they're like, oh, that was good. I feel the goodness of that experience because I did it God's way. And now I'm, like, experiencing the positive effects of living for God and the way that I do it. It's not just like, oh, did I get it right? It's, oh, I got to experience what it's like to do it right. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. You know, when it comes down to it, it's really not that hard to live as a faithful man. Mm-hmm. Because everything in life is a choice. So we talk about being at a restaurant. My kids are grown, so we weren't with the kids. But we went out this past weekend for a dinner, and we got an appetizer. And it didn't come, and it didn't come. And I'm like, you know, I bet they forgot the appetizer.
Probably.
I bet they forgot. And I was super hungry. It had been all day. I'm starved. That's why I got an appetizer. It's not coming, and it's not coming, it's not coming. So sure enough, here comes the dinner. No appetizer yet. And so I mentioned to the waitress, I'm like, hey, I ordered an appetizer. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll go check it wherever it is. And she went, and then she came back, and I'm like halfway through with my dinner now, and she's like, I forgot to put it in.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so sorry. If you'd still like it, I'll get it for you now. And I was like, sure. I'll think of it as a side dish.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it's a side dish to my meal. Yeah, I'll still have it. I wanted it in the first place. And then she went and put it in and got it, came back. It was a quick thing, came back, shortly thereafter and said, I'm so sorry it's on the house. So there you go.
Yeah.
Right? Like
You just got a free appetizer.
I didn't get it. It was like $9.95. I didn't get it on time, and I could have been a jerk about it, and maybe even understandably so. You're paying a lot for a meal, and instead it was a choice. I could just shut up and try to be a nice guy to her. She's probably having a tough day and she forgot one little thing. Or I could be a giant crab. All those things in life are choices. And I think the more and more you choose to do things God's way, Jesus' way, the more and more he blesses you because of it. So my blessing happened to be a free $10 appetizer that day. And I ate it 10 minutes later than I would have eaten it. Oh boy, end of the world, You got to think like that. Is it really the end of the world? Is it really worth getting all fired up and angry about? Not really.
It's definitely not.
Not really. And God blesses you when you live as he directs. He blesses you. I truly believe that.
I think that's amazing. I think that's why I love what the Bucks kind of pictured and Giannis in that way. Like over this past few months, I mean, I've seen and even heard secondhand from you, like really liking this team and loving how they play, and to see that play out and for them to win. It doesn't always happen. They don't always win. But for that to happen is kind of a cool thing, and for people to be so excited about it for them. And I don't think there's a lot of haters towards the Bucks. Maybe there are, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like to or at least towards Giannis, it's hard to hate somebody like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the big time player who's like all about themselves, it's a little bit more easy to be a little resentful towards that person.
Exactly.
And so it's cool, like to see how that can play out in reality. And
well, and everyone has a forum. Like if you're a professional athlete, you have this giant forum, right?
Yeah.
To affect others, like by sharing positivity and encouraging things. You can be a jerk about things, or you can influence others to the positive. And they have this forum, and they have a big one. You or I have a forum, a decent sized one, because we're on stage at a church or in podcasts or whatever, and you can influence people that way. But everyone has a forum, right? It might just be your children at home, or it might be your coworkers or whatever. Do you bring positivity to the place? Do you bring encouragement to the place? Do you bring grace to the place and mercy like God suggests we should? And you change the culture there, whether it's in your household or at your work site or in a big setting, maybe because you have a big time job. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can bring that anywhere you go. That's the power that we all have. And you see it like a person like Giannis, everyone around him likes him and it's a positive environment or whatever, and he's super famous. But you can be famous in your own home. You can be famous among your coworkers for bringing positivity and love and guidance and all that stuff. It's all good stuff. Everyone can do it.
When you're coaching, I'm curious because you've coached a number of times throughout your career, quite successfully. And as you've done that, this is one of the questions I was thinking about leading up to today. Is there's got to be like a secret sauce, right? Sometimes there is just this little bit of secret sauce that I know probably isn't secret and isn't like something that seems really flashy, but in my mind, it is the best thing you can have if you're coaching a team is somebody on your team who has the ability to work really hard and somebody who has a good attitude.
Yeah.
And that literally changes everything. So when all the lights are gone and it's just you and the 10 guys on the team that are practicing and doing whatever, that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. If you're using sports as reference, you can't necessarily choose to be the best shooter or hitter or whatever, thrower or whatever your sport involves. You maybe just can't choose to be the best. Some people are just really naturally gifted or whatever, and you're not as gifted as they are possibly. But you can choose to have the best attitude.
Yeah.
And you can choose to work harder than everybody else. And by choosing to have the best attitude and choosing to work the hardest, you will be successful.
For sure.
It's in any work circumstance, any educational circumstance, you can work harder than everybody else. That's a choice.
Yeah.
You can have integrity. That's a choice. You can have a great attitude. That's a choice. And those things pay off.
Yeah.
They just do.
I completely agree. And I love how sports is an easy analogy, but it translates so perfectly to everyday life, your family, your faith. It's all of those things. You can be that person. You can represent. You can be an ambassador in a way, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. If someone's listening right now and, they're thinking about their own job, decide to go in this week and be the hardest working person there.
Yeah.
And that's just your decision. That's your new way of life. You're going to be the hardest working person there. And then decide to have the best attitude there. And see what transpires. Give it some time. Work like that for a while and just see what happens. Give it a shot, especially if you're unhappy, because what you have been doing ain't working. Right? You're unhappy every day. That ain't working.
Yeah.
Why would you keep doing it? So just make the choice. I'm going to go and I'm going to work harder than everybody, and I'm going to have a better attitude than anyone else here. I'm only going to say positive things. I'm not going to sit around the break room and complain about everything all the time. I'm going to work, and I'm going to have a great attitude. And then just see what happens.
And as you do that, I'm curious. Sometimes you might be thinking to yourself, well, I feel like I've done that for like a day or two, and it's not really doing anything.
It's not a day or two.
I understand that.
Giannis is super famous now. I think he's been in the league 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And he's been playing his whole life. And the big knock on Giannis in his younger days, even now, is he works too hard. Like, if you super follow the Bucks, Giannis is known for, like, after a bad game, the game ends at like 10 p.m., cleans up, whatever, and goes to a gym and works out from like midnight to 3 a.m. on his shot, on whatever. And the coaches over the years always been, maybe you're working too much and da-da-da, you better scale it back. He's like, no, I need to work harder. So as you watch him do amazing things now, that's terrific and all, but he's also the hardest working guy for years.
Yeah.
He didn't just wake up and be amazing. And 5 years ago when he's working out at the gym at 3 a.m. when everyone else is in bed, that's what's paying off now.
Yeah.
And it didn't pay off right away for him. It didn't. But he kept at it. And I'd say the same for me or for you or for anyone else listening. It's not going to pay off instantly, but you have to believe in the principle of it.
All right.
Hardworking and great integrity and great honesty and great attitude, that will pay off, and that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to trust God, because God says that stuff pays off, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust God that it will come to fruition for me. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but I'm going to be better off not because you're living Mike's suggestion. This is living God's way. When you live God's way, you should be able to trust God being all-powerful, that it will work out for you in some form or fashion.
And I think gets to one last piece to this that I think I'm interested in is the why. Because I think some people might listen and hear this and think, well, you know what, I can settle for less than that. Like I'm okay. You know what I mean? I'm okay being kind of halfway all right. I'm not really interested in really pushing to be better.
Oh man, no, don't do that.
But this is the thing, right? I think this is a normal thing. So when you talk about motivation and why you're choosing to live with integrity and live with your character lining up with Jesus, like why is that? Like why does that matter?
I think it matters. You have to realize you got one shot here.
Yeah.
You have one life. That's it. Why would you live anything less than what your best life could possibly be? And I get life is so difficult. I've been through it myself. I've helped so many other people over 20 years. I get that life it's not just all cherries and roses and it's all going to be great. Just show up and be happy. I get that it's harder than that. You have to have that attitude that you're going to do it, but then you just have to work through it and expect your life to be what you really want it to be.
Yeah.
Not settling, well, this is just how it is. I'm going to live the next 30 years like this. No, good grief. God gave you this life. It's a gift. Enjoy it.
Yeah, honor him with it.
Yeah, so I think when someone gives you a gift, using the gift honors them, right?
Exactly.
And so when God gives you this gift of life, you want to live it. You want to enjoy it. You want to go all out, not just kind of muddle through and someday maybe like retire and sort of be happy. Yikes. That's just no way to live. Go all out. And I get that that's easy to say. I get that it's hard to do. So I don't mean to be shallow when I say it. And if someone listening needs help with that, I love helping people with that. I love it. But don't settle for anything less than the best that your life could possibly be.
Yeah. It's wild because I think as I've gotten older and had 3 kids and moved houses and all that kind of stuff and gone through job changes and that kind of a thing, you realize that it's harder than you ever thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you also realize that if you work at it, it also can be more rewarding than it ever could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also realize your need for God more than you ever thought in the midst of it.
Yeah, I don't know how, I'll just speak for myself. I don't know how I would have gotten through so many different things in my life without feeling like God was right there helping me.
Yeah.
Not everything goes great all the time.
No, this is super true.
And you need someone more powerful, more wise than yourself to follow. And that begins with God through Jesus, his man representation on earth, God's representation on earth of himself. You follow.
Yeah.
You follow.
Awesome. I think that's a fantastic note to end on, other than congratulations.
Go Bucks.
It's awesome. This is so great. I love chatting about it. If you want tuning in, thanks for tuning in. And you can follow us at RCC Unscripted on Instagram. Also, you can subscribe on YouTube. Share it with some people. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Or Spotify and iTunes are on there as well. And with that, we will see you all again next week as Mike drinks from his pink water bottle. Have a good one, everybody.